Hello, my name is Bob Diamond. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist and also a licensed school psychologist, but work at the Learning Needs Evaluation Center here at the University of Virginia. Learning Needs Evaluation Center is better known by the short acronym of LNEC. The LNEC is the Disability Services Agency for the University of Virginia's student population. As such, we are charged with working with students who have any of a variety of disabling conditions that limit their ability to freely express their skills or knowledge on an equal basis in comparison to other students.
Anderson. I'm the director of the Learning Needs and Evaluation Center here at the University of Virginia. We help students who already have disabilities. They come in with documentation of some type saying that they have an established condition and that there's certain sort of accommodations that they need.
There are some fairly standard accommodations that students receive. These are things like additional time to take, so there's a little more time to spend working on tests and exams. The option of taking tests in a reduced distraction environment.
Accommodations include things like peer note-taking, which means that student volunteers in the class will take notes for the student either to supplement that student's work or instead of that student's work. So for instance, we may have a student who really needs to just sit there and listen. It's because of their learning disorder, it's going to be hard for that student to sit there and listen and also take notes at the same time. So in that case, the student note takers will take the notes and those will get sent to the student with the disability. We do frequently also translate textbooks into audio format for students who have reading disorders, as well as students with visual impairments. So this allows them to hear the book instead of reading it.
My name is Anjali Leal, and I'm a teaching assistant in the Spanish department. And as a foreign language department, we work with the LNEC to help students with learning needs in terms of accommodations during the semester. So what we like to do is meet with that student and with the student's TA to talk about the accommodations that would help the student succeed in the course, whether that be extra time for exams, perhaps being excused from listening quizzes, whatever the LNEC kind of recommends. We try to implement that, and also just kind of meet with the student to see if there's anything else that we can do in terms of helping them with the course. In the case that the student is not able to do well in the course, they either maintain, a D or an F, then we would meet with the student again in the TA and just kind of discuss what the chances are of the student being able to succeed in the course, how this may be affecting their other work, their other involvement in school activities. And if we really feel that the student is just not doing well and is really putting in an effort into the course, using these accommodations but still is not bringing that grade up, then we would recommend that the student be modified and be allowed to take other classes in order to fulfill the foreign language requirement.
Hi, I'm Paul Kingston. I'm a sociology professor and I teach the intro sociology class. Essentially, I would say 90% of my accommodations say, oh, you need to give a time and a half. I'm perfectly happy to do that. In fact, I would have all the tests on time for everybody if I could make that happen. So I have no troubles whatsoever, and we come up with different ways the kids will take the test at a time and a half, sometimes over at LNEC, sometimes in the department. Try to do it in a way that it calls the least attention to the students. There's never a problem about that. Then some students also come to me and say, gee, we need some accommodations on note-taking, and I try to make that happen by making the announcements in class, trying to get the volunteers, and so far, every year that I've done it, at least that I recall, some people have come forward, and the students who've been the beneficiaries of those notes generally tell me the kids have done a good job and they're very appreciative. So, from my point of view, this is easy, and I'm happy to do it.
The purpose of the screening testing is to just be able to say either everything's fine, this looks all where it should be, or it looks like we do have a difficulty in this particular area and that needs to be investigated further. So then, if we get the second result, we meet with the student, we talk about it, we make a recommendation of diagnostic testing. The university's position is that diagnostic testing is the individual student's responsibility. We at the LNEC are committed to ensuring that financial factors should not interfere with any student's right to have full access to university services. So we will work closely with the student if it is a financial hardship to them.
My name is Jason Freeman. I'm a neuropsychologist in the Department of Psychiatric Medicine and Neurobehavioral Sciences here at UVA. And while a screening evaluation can be done at the Learning Needs and Evaluation Center in about 2 hours, our evaluation process comes in really 3 parts. The first part is to do an interview, and the interview process takes between 45 minutes and an hour. And that's for us to really learn from the student's perspective what the issues are and what the rest of their background suggests in terms of how it influences their academic functioning. The second part of the evaluation is the testing itself. And in terms of hours, instead of the screening battery, which would be about 2 hours long, our comprehensive battery would take between 4 and 6 hours to complete. And again, we're doing a comprehensive assessment of intellectual functioning, academic skills, attention, learning, memory, processing speed, and also emotional functioning. In almost all cases, do require the student to come back to our laboratory around 2 to 4 weeks after the testing is completed and the results are written up to provide face-to-face feedback so that we can review what our impressions are at each stage of the evaluation. And at that point in time, the student may decide that he or she would like to give permission for us to send that information to the Learning Needs and Evaluation Center, and the LNEC then reviews our documentation again with the student to determine whether or not the student should get any accommodations formally provided by the university or not.
I would say to all students, you're not alone. There's lots and lots of students using accommodations at UVA. It's nothing new to the professors. They've certainly done this before with lots of students, so they're not going to look down on a student for using disability accommodations.